newly discovered species of catfish, a terrifying new vampiric wasp, a mystery spider creating silk structures that look like Stonehenge. These are scary discoveries in the Amazon that left experts completely baffled. A newly discovered species of catfish called Trichomyceteris anticus was recently found in a small river in the Amazon. This catfish is pretty small, measuring less than 3 inches, its eyes are tiny, and it has pointed, oddly arranged teeth. It doesn't look that different from other catfish except for a dark gray stripe running along its body and a few small spots near its back fin. What's truly weird is what researchers found when they looked at the catfish's DNA. A lot of species in the Amazon split off from each other around 5 to 2 million years ago, during the Pliocene era. But this little guy took a different route. It branched off way earlier, during the Miocene, which was about 23 to 5 million years ago. This ancient split earned it the name Anticus, which means old in Latin. This catfish is incredibly rare. Over several trips to the area by the team, only 4 of these fish were ever found. Scientists came across a bizarre silk structure that's been dubbed Silkhenge because it kind of looks like a tiny web version of Stonehenge. Found in 2013 in Tambopata, Peru, the structure is made up of a ring of tiny pillars surrounding a central cone. At first, no one knew what made it or why it looked so strange. Then, a few months later, scientists returned and discovered something amazing: baby spiders emerging from the webs. In December of 2016, researchers filmed the first ever video of the spiders hatching. In the footage, you can see 2 translucent golden orangey looking spiderlings pushing their way out of the silk cone. Biologist Phil Torres, one of the researchers, could barely contain his excitement as the hatchlings made their first steps. The spiders appear to belong to a new species, but much about them is still a mystery. Aaron Pomerantz, a researcher at UC Berkeley, explained that identifying species usually involves looking at adult spiders, but since none have been found yet, the creature behind the Silkhenge is still mostly unknown. Next up, we have a newly discovered parasitic wasp, nicknamed the vampire wasp, which looks just about as terrifying as it sounds. They were found at the perfect time, too, October of 2023, and I had to believe the Halloween season somehow influenced the naming of these things. That and the fact that these have to be the creepiest looking wasps in existence. Scientists discovered the new breed of wasps in the Peruvian Amazon. Brandon Claridge, a doctoral candidate in biology at Utah State University, along with his team, set up large tent-like traps to capture insects. Of course, a variety of insects were caught, but one stood out: the Capitojopa amazonica, aka the vampire wasp. These wasps not only sting their prey, but they also suck their blood, hence the vampire nickname. But to make things even more horrifying, they also lay larvae under the victim's skin. Luckily, these wasps don't have much interest in humans, at least not that we know of yet. Crazy thing about this little expedition is that the team apparently caught 108 other new species using these traps. It's just crazy how many animals are still not known to science. The Mapinguari tribe, one of the most isolated and reclusive indigenous groups in the world, was recently spotted in the Amazon rainforest of Peru. These tribe members were seen near the Las Piedras River. Mapinguari are believed to be the largest indigenous community still living without any outside contact. Over 50 tribe members were seen, and the images were confirmed by the indigenous rights group Survival International. Alfredo Vargas Pio, president of a local indigenous organization, told Survival International that these sightings are irrefutable evidence that the Mapinguari live in this area. But there's concern over the tribe's safety. Logging companies have been granted access to the land. Vargas warned that contact with outsiders, especially logging workers, could introduce dangerous diseases that might wipe out the tribe. He also called for the Peru government to recognize and legally protect the Mapinguari's territory. In the heart of the Amazon rainforest, archaeologists discovered one of the largest collections of prehistoric rock art ever found. Stretching across nearly 8 miles of cliffs in Colombia, these paintings date back as far as 12,500 years and include thousands of images of animals and humans. The discovery includes images of extinct Ice Age creatures, like the mastodon and giant sloths, as well as horses and camels, meaning the people who created these paintings were some of the first humans to enter the Amazon. Jose Ariart, an archaeologist leading the research, was in awe of the level of detail in this work. He described the horse images as so detailed that you could even see horse hair, and noted that the paintings were so natural that they left little doubt about what was being depicted. Some of the paintings are huge. A lot of them are so high up on cliffs that archaeologists actually had to use drones to get a clearer view. They even found evidence of wooden towers in some of the artwork, which might explain how the artists reached so high up. The team of British and Colombian researchers spent hours trucking through the dangerous territory where they had to navigate past deadly snakes. Caimans. The electric catfish, one of the most bizarre creatures lurking in the Amazon River. This fish is capable of generating powerful electric shocks, up to 350 volts, which it uses to stun prey and defend itself from predators. Unlike electric eels, which generate their shock from a specialized organ, the electric catfish has a set of electrocytes, specialized cells that produce electricity running along its body. When it feels threatened or needs to catch food, the fish can release an electric charge strong enough to paralyze smaller fish, making them easier to swallow. These fish can be pretty big too, growing up to 3 feet long. They're also incredibly hard to spot because they have this muddy brownish appearance that blends in perfectly with the riverbed. They may not be as famous or dangerous as the electric eel, but getting shot can still cause pain and temporary paralysis. The Mapinguari is a mysterious creature said to lurk deep in the Amazon, and tribes have told tales of the creature for centuries, even ones that don't communicate with each other. It's described as a giant 7-foot-tall beast said to have a terrible fetid smell that can make hunters dizzy and disoriented. Some say it looks more like a giant ground sloth. Other depictions have it with like a big eye on the top and just a mouth on its stomach. Very strange. There have been multiple expeditions to find it, but no concrete evidence like bones or scat has ever been found. Some scientists think the creature could be based on stories passed down from a time when humans were actually interacting with giant ground sloths. These creatures are believed to have gone extinct around 10,000 years ago, but some think they might have lived much later. Over the last 25 years, a number of strange geoglyphs have been found in the Brazilian rainforest. These massive trenches, some up to 36 feet wide and 13 feet deep, are spread across about 5,000 square miles. They come in all sorts of shapes: circles, ovals, squares, octagons. The big question is, what were they used for? Well, these weren't homes or military fortifications, at least not from what we can tell. Archaeologists think they were used for ceremonies or rituals, but what's even more interesting is what these geoglyphs say about how ancient people used the land. A new study suggests that these early humans might have been way better at managing the forest than we are today. By digging into the soil around 2 geoglyph sites, researchers found that about 4,000 years ago, people were using controlled burns to clear land for farming. They also cleared certain trees and plants to make room for ones that were more useful to them. The big difference with today's deforestation, back then it was temporary and the forest was managed to keep valuable resources. As archaeologist Dr. Jennifer Watling puts it, deforestation in this area today is complete and long-lasting. A major drought in the Amazon in 2023 revealed some ancient petroglyphs carved into rocks along the Negro River, right where it meets the Amazon River. These carvings depict all sorts of things: human faces, animals, shapes like squares and circles that were created as long as 2,000 years ago. Indigenous archaeologist Carlos Augusto da Silva has been studying the petroglyphs, and he first spotted them during a drought back in 2005. But in October of 2023, the river's water level dropped so much that Silva found over 100 of these petroglyphs, the most he's ever seen. The exact age of the carvings is hard to pinpoint since dating rock directly is tough. Ceramics found nearby, though, have been radiocarbon dated to around 2,000 years ago, so the petroglyphs might be from the same period, but there's no clear evidence linking the creators of the ceramics to the petroglyph makers. This is the longest period the petroglyphs have been visible in modern times, and archaeologists are concerned about potential damage with all the increased visitor interest. With all that said, I've been your host, James. I'll catch you, yes you specifically, in the next video.